Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing absolutely well. So guys, in today's video we are going to discuss TCS BPS previous year questions. So there are already some videos that I have uploaded on my channel. You can check the playlist. There you will find the playlist related to TCS BPS. In all these videos you can find some practice questions for your upcoming exams, so make sure to check those videos too. So in this video also we are going to see some questions related to TCS BPS. I have selected questions on different topics so that you can get a better practice in a single video. So make sure to watch the video till end. Also, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel as I regularly upload off-campus drives as well as placement preparation related videos on the channel. Also, if you have not yet followed me on Instagram, make sure to do so as there are a lot of job opportunities there as well. So let's start with our first question for today. So this is the first question that you can see right now on the screen. So let's read the question first. The cost of 2 chairs and 3 tables is rupees 1300. The cost of 3 chairs and 2 tables is rupees 1200. The cost of each table is more than that of each chair by. We have to find out that amount. Okay, so first of all, whenever you are getting this kind of question, the first thing that you need to do is you need to take down the data that is given to you. So let's note the data first. So in the first line it is given that the cost of 2 chairs and 3 tables is rupees 1300. So 2 chairs plus 3 tables is 1300. Okay, so one thing is noted. Now the next thing, the cost of 3 chairs and 2 tables is rupees 1200. So we have 3 chairs and 2 tables, that is of rupees 1200. Now what we need is the cost of each table is more than that of each chair by. The cost of each table that is more than that of each chair by, so we can represent it like this, that is table, how much it is greater than chair. So T minus C will give us this value which is asked, right? So we need to basically find T minus C. Now what we need is we need T minus C. So what we will do is we will give this as number 1 equation and number 2 equation, and then when we will subtract 1 minus 2, we will be having 3 minus 2, that is T. So let us solve this equation. So 1 minus 2, so 2 minus 3 will give us minus C, 2C minus 3C will give us minus C, and 3T minus 2T will give us T, right? And 1300 minus 1200 will give us 100. So now you can see we have got the value T minus C. So this is T minus C. So the value that we have got for T minus C is 100. So let us see whether we have 100 as the option. So option A is 1200, no. Option B is 100, so yes. Answer for this question is option B. So let's check the answer also. So you can see that the answer for this question is option B. So I hope now you have got the understanding of how to solve this question. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section. Also, I would suggest that before solving or looking at the solution for any question, just try on your own. Give it some time, try on your own if you can, whether you can solve this question or not. If you are not able to solve, then only please proceed further with the solution. Let's move ahead to the next question now. So we have this question wherein it is given that if the difference between the two consecutive positive perfect cubes is 127, then their sum is, okay, and then we have the options as 559, 560, 561 and 562. So difference between two consecutive positive number. Now consecutive means what? One after the other. Suppose we have one number as 3, then the next consecutive number will be 4, right? So the difference between two consecutive positive perfect cubes is 127, then their sum is. So there are different ways in which you can solve this question. Let me tell you the first way. So first way is kind of hit and trial method. First way is hit and trial. Now what is this hit and trial? What you need is you need to take some numbers, right? So let us take first of all 3 and 4 for example. Now the cube of 3 is 81. Sorry, 27 is the cube of 3. 27 is the cube of 3 and 4 it is 64, right? 16 into 4 will give us 64, right? So yes, we have taken two numbers. Now in the question itself it is given that the difference is 127 and their sum is some one of these answers, right? So when we will do sum of these, definitely our value will not be in the range between 500 to 600. So definitely these numbers are not going to be the one. So let us take another number 5 cube, which will be 125. Again, when we will add 125 with 64, answer will be somewhere in the range of 200, but it will not reach 500. Next, what we can do is we can take 6 cube, which will be 216. Again, when we will add 216 and 125, our answer will reach in the range of 400 only. So again, the sum will not be somewhere around this. So let's take the next cube, that is 7 cube. So that is 343. Now when we will add up them, the answer will reach in the range of 500, but let's try whether the sum is present in the answer or not. So when we will add 343 and 216, 6 plus 3 will give us 9, 4 plus 1 will give us 5, and 3 plus 2 will give us 5. Now we have 559 as the sum. 559 is in the options, but we also need to check whether the difference is 127 or not. So when we will do 343 minus 216, what we will get is 7, then here it will be 2, and here it will be 1. So yes, exactly we are getting the option difference as 127 and sum as 559. So yes, the correct answer is option number A, that is 559, and the two consecutive numbers are 6 and 7. So I said there are two methods of solving this. So this was hit and trial. Hit and trial, why? Because we do not know the exact numbers. What we were doing is we were taking some numbers, we were trying the hit and trial method, and yes, finally we got these two numbers and we got the answer. So this was one of the methods. Now the other method that I was talking about is, so whenever you are getting this kind of consecutive numbers kinds of question, what you can do is you can take two numbers as, let the numbers be x and x plus 1, right? So these are two numbers. Now you can create an equation with this. So what is it is said that the difference between two positive consecutive numbers, consecutive perfect cubes is 127. So the number which will come first is x, and then the number which will come afterwards is x plus 1. So what we can do is we can make an equation like this, that is x plus 1 cube minus x cube, and the difference is 127. Now we have this equation. What you need is you need to solve this equation. You need to find the value of x, and after solving this equation, when you will find the value of x, you will get the value as 6 and minus 7. So you can neglect this minus, and you can get that the two numbers are 6 and 7, and finally you can take the cubes of both of them and you can find the sum of these numbers. So this was other way. I'll quickly solve this question just in case if you do not know how you can solve it. So x plus 1 cube will give us x cube plus 1 plus 3x x plus 1 minus x cube equals 127. Then what we can do is we can cancel this and this, and then we will have the equation as 3x square plus 3x, and this one will go there and get subtracted, so 126. Again what we will do is we will take 3 common, and we will send it there. So 126 divided by 3 will give us 42. So we have this thing, that is x square plus x equals 42. Now what we will do is we will solve this equation, that is this one. Now this is this equation can be solved by taking 7x minus 6x, because 7x minus 6x will give x, and 7x into 6x will give 42, right? So minus 42 equals 0. So after solving this, what we can get is we will take x common from here and minus 6 common from here. So we will get the values of x as 6 and minus 7. So I hope now you have got how you can solve it. So you now know both the methods. Now it is upon you which method is suitable for you. If you are sitting for a competitive exam wherein you do not have much time, so the first would be a better one, but you are not sure whether you are going to get the answer. But this answer will definitely going to give you an answer, but it will take longer time. So it is upon you which method is preferable for you. So I hope now you have got the understanding. And the answer for this question is option number A. So moving on to the next question now. So before moving on to the next question, I want to remind you that there are other videos on the channel too which are helpful for you. You can check the channel. We regularly upload these kinds of videos. Also there are other playlists for aptitude preparation also. You can check the playlist section. You will get other videos related to aptitude and reasoning. I am going to upload topic wise videos in that playlist, so make sure to check those too. Also please make sure to subscribe to the channel just in case if you have not done yet. let's move ahead with our next question now. So this is our next question that you can see on the screen. In an examination, it is required to get 36% of the maximum marks to pass. A student gets 113 marks and is declared failed by 85 marks. The maximum marks is. Now you need to find the maximum marks. First of all, let's take the data which is given to us. In an examination, it is required to get 36% of the maximum marks to pass, right? So 36% of max marks is passing marks, right? What it is said is 36% of the max marks to pass, which means that 36% of the maximum marks will be our passing marks. Now the other thing that is given is a student gets 113 marks and is declared failed by 85 marks. So a student got 113 marks and he is failed because he didn't get qualifying marks. So in order to get the qualifying marks, he need to score 85 marks more than what he has got. So what do we understand is the passing marks is 113 which this candidate has scored plus 85. So he needed 85 more, so which is the passing mark. So when we will add this up, we will get 198. So our passing marks is 198. So this we have deduced from the given data, right? Now we have these values and what we need is maximum marks. So maximum is here present in this equation. We have already got the passing value. So let's put the value here and try to find out. So 36% of maximum. So maximum that we need to find out, passing we will put the value. Okay, so now I hope all the values are now substituted. So let's try to find the solution. 198 into 100 divided by 36. So let's divide this by 3. 3 ones are 3, 3 twos are 6, 3 6 are 18, and again 6 18. Now again we can divide it by 3, that is 3 4s are 12, 3 2s and 3 2s are 6. So now 4 can be divided by 100, which is 25. So now we got as 22 into 25. So the value for M will be 22 into 25, which is 550. So options, in the options we have the value option B as 550. So the correct answer for this question that we have got is option B. Let's check whether our answer is correct or not. So you can see that the correct answer for this question is option B. I hope now you have got the understanding of how to solve this question. Even though this question was not tough, but many candidates might get confused by looking at the question that this is a very complex question and we do not know how to find it because the data is not given clearly. You need to deduce the value, that is the value of the passing marks. So this is very much important that if you have practiced this kind of questions before, it will not at all be new to you when you sit in the exam. So that is the main reason that you need to practice a lot of questions before sitting for the exam, and that is what the motive of this video, right? So let's move ahead with our next question now. So just in case if you are getting any doubts while watching the video, let me know in the comment section, and if the video is helpful to you, just make sure to comment down that the video was helpful, right? Moving on to the next question that we have. What is the average of all the prime numbers between 100 and 120? So this kind of average based questions are also being regularly asked in the TCS BPS exam. So let's try to find out. We have the options. So first let's find out our solution, then we will match it with our options. So what we are asked is find the average of all prime numbers between 100 and 200. So let's find first of all, just in case if you don't know what is a prime number, let me tell you. Prime number is a number which is divisible by 1 or itself, right? So if a number is divisible by 1 or itself, then it is called as prime number. Suppose we have a number 3. Now 3 is a number which is divisible by either 1 or by itself only, which means that 3 is not divisible by 2, right? So 3 is a prime number. Again, the other number that we have is 7. So 7 is either divisible by 1 or by itself only. So 7 is again a prime number. So this kind of prime numbers we have to find between 100 and 120. So 100 is not a prime number definitely because it will be divisible by 2. So the next number that we have is 101. Now 101 is a prime number. Next number that we have in the series is 103 This is also a prime number. Then the next is 107. This is a prime number. Then next is 109 and the next is 113. Rest all are non-prime numbers. So now we have got these many numbers. Now it is asked that what is the average. Now in order to find the average, what we will do is we will do the sum of all of them, divide by how many of them are there. We will divide it by that number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will divide it by 5. Now when we will add all of them, we are going to get the value as 533. And when we will divide it by 5, we are going to get 51. Then 5. So in order to divide, we are going to take both of these 33. So 5 6 are 33 and remaining 3, so 0.6. Simple division is there. So 106.6. Option C is 106.6. So according to us, we have got the answer as option C. Let us find out whether the correct answer is option C or not. So you can see that the correct answer is option C only. So now you have got the understanding. So again I am repeating, just in case if you are if you are checking the solutions just without trying, don't do that. Pause the video for some moments, try it on your own. If you are not able to do, then only check the solutions, because your mind should also work, right? Because if you are not giving the time only and you are directly checking the solutions, you are not going to get how to solve in the actual exam. So make sure to give it some time and try to solve your own, and then only check the solution. Let's move ahead to the next question now. So the next question that we have is, a 2-digit number is such that the product of its digits is 14. When 45 is added to this number, the digits interchange their positions, like 12 plus 9 is equals 21. Now the actual number was 12. So when it is added with the other number, the digits got changed. That is, the 12th digit got changed to 21. So this is what it is saying, that so when 45 is added to this number, the digits interchange their positions. We need to find that number. Again, very common questions. So these kinds of questions are regularly being asked, and it is very easy to solve these questions. There can be multiple ways of solving these questions. That is, the first one is you can take the numbers as x and y and then you can solve it. But the most fast way is to take it by taking the options, right? So that is, we call this elimination method. Let us take the first number and try to solve it. A 2-digit number is such that the product of a digit is 14, right? So when we will do 5 into 4, it is 20. So definitely A cannot be our answer, but because it is in the question only, it is said that the product of the digits should be 14. Again, let's take the second option, that is 2 into 7. So yes, in this case the product is 14, so this can be an option. Again, option C, 3 into 6 is 18, which is so 18, so definitely this cannot be an answer. And again 7 into 2, which is 14. So yes, now our problem is reduced to half only, that is, answer can be either B or D. Now let's check the other case also. When 45 is added to this number, the digits interchange their positions. So let's add 45 to 27. So when we will add 45 to 27, we are going to get 170. 45 to 27, we are going to get 72. Okay, so 45 added with 27, we are going to get 72. Okay, so you can see that the digits are interchanged. So yes, this is only our answer, option B. Now we have got the answer as option B, but let's check for 72 also. What if we have added 45 to 72? Well, if we have added 45 to 72, then in that case we have got the answer as 117. So which is not a interchanging the values. So that is why we have got the answer as option B. So the correct answer is option B. Let's check the answer now. You can see that answer B is the correct option for this answer. Moving ahead to our next question. So the next question is this. So we have an equation given to us, that is 19. In brackets we have x plus y plus 17 equals 19 minus x plus y minus 21. What you need to do is you need to solve this equation and you need to find the value of x and not y. Okay, so I'm not going to solve this question. This question is for all of you. As you always know that in all of the videos I give one question for you to solve. You need to solve this question and you need to comment down the correct answer. Just in case if you go to the comment section and you check that someone has already commented and I have replied that answer is the correct one, that does not mean that you do not have to comment. You should also comment if you have completely watched the video and if you have solved it on your own, right? Because this is what is going to make you practice, and I am also going to get to know that yes, you are also solving the questions, right? So please make sure that you solve this question and comment down your answer. Okay, so with this we have come to end of this video. So if you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. I'm always ready to help you with anything related to TCS BPS. Let me know in the comment section. Make sure to join us on different social media platforms like Telegram and Instagram. There is a huge community of candidates and students added there. You can ask doubts there also. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel to receive all such regular updates and to get all these kinds of helpful videos which are helpful in your placement preparation journey. Thank you and all the best for your upcoming exam.